It was fantastic. It helped me understand that the English summer is not really a summer at all. It's the summer that we are used to is about mangoes and unbearable heat, but there it keeps changing, and the sport gets affected by that as well.
How does your son react when he sees you on screen? And how does he react when he sees Jasprit on screen?
He understands. So now every time he sees a cricket match, he knows that Dada is possibly playing. So he'll ask, he'll be like, is Dada there? Or can you point Dada out to me? Everything I learned about the Premier League was on the job. I did that show for about 3, 4 good months before I started to finally feel comfortable talking about football, and it started to roll off my tongue before the company I worked for decided that, okay, enough of this challenge, let's throw you.
All right, exciting times ahead if you're a cricket lover. Watch India Storm England. The first test kicks off 3:30 in the afternoon, Friday, June 30, live on Sony Sports 10.1 and Sony Sports 10.5 if you fancy your broadcasting in English, along with Sony Sports 10.3 in Hindi and Sony Sports 10.4 as the regional languages. You can choose language option Tamil or Telugu. Sanjana Ganesan is part of the English hosting panel. We're delighted to have her. Hi, how are you?
I am very well. Thank you so much for having me.
Looking ahead to the India-England test, what's the coverage angle you most prefer as a host, as a presenter, as a broadcaster? Would you say pre-match features, sideline interviews, which happen even by the side of the ground, or family stories?
I think they all have their own beauty, and there's a certain amount of excitement to doing each and every piece in a broadcast. But for me, I think talking about those crucial moments while they're happening, sideline interviews, talking to coaches, talking to commentators while they're witnessing the action has always been part of the thrill, and part of why I do this. So those I have to pick.
You know, I asked Harsha Bogle this question. I said, are you going to expand your sports broadcasting to sports journalism and go back to writing? Because he'd done a fair bit of writing at one point in his career. And he said he simply doesn't have the time to do so anymore. Curious to ask you the same question. I mean, you've got this sustainable success in broadcast over the last 10 years. What really is next? Are you going to expand this to sports, to more sports journalism, mentoring aspiring broadcasters, maybe writing? Or does the whole, the equation, you being a mom and broadcaster, leave you with very little time?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with Harsha's answer on this one, but for completely different reasons. I have a young family. I'm still navigating motherhood and being able to do what I do for a living at the same time. Also, with my husband's job, it involves a ton of travel as well. So we'd like to be there for him when we can. So for me, it's been 1.5 years of just figuring out a rhythm as to how I can continue to do what I do while being present at home for my family as well. I think it'll take a little more time before I can get a handle on that and find the perfect work-life balance to be able to expand into other forays. But I definitely think that helping out younger broadcasters, young women broadcasters, would be something that I would like to do in the future.
How do you think the presence of wives and partners influences a player's morale, Sanjana, especially when he's traveling overseas and there are long tours where he is going to eventually come back to lonely hotel rooms?
I think it's not just about cricket. In any profession, it's always nice to leave work and come back home to family, to be able to spend time with your spouse, your child, your parents. It's always it gets your mind off what's happened at work. And it's very similar to a cricketer's life. There's so much traveling, like you said, involved, and it can get lonely. Also, the pressure of expectations is beyond anything you and I have ever witnessed. So it's always nice to have that sort of comfort cushion at home, or traveling with you, so that you can come back home to and just be vulnerable with.
Which cricketer has the best sense of humor? And you
My
can
husband,
example.
without a doubt. I know his humor the best, so I have to pick him.
Yeah, I think he has a very subtle, understated sense of humor, which we
Yes.
all enjoy. Which cricketer, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I mean really that they're so involved in the game. Which cricketer is very serious? Cricketer is very serious and sticks to only serious game talk.
Surprisingly, every conversation that I've had with Jhulan Goswami, she doesn't play international cricket anymore. She's always been very on the money, and she's always discussing what's happened in the game or what's going to happen. And now that she's coaching as well, that's always on the top of her mind. I've she's a very lovely personality, and she's great fun to hang out with, but it's always about the cricket.
I've only seen her on screen, but
Mhm.
they say the screen adds weight as well as height. Does she tower over you in real life
Yes,
too? Yeah.
me and my husband. So she proper fast bowler she is.
After an engineering degree, what sparked your shift into modeling and sports presenting?
So I finished my engineering degree, and I saw an ad for Miss India in the newspaper. I thought I should give it a shot. I did. It worked out, and it exposed a whole new area to me professionally, where under sort of bright lights, anything was possible. And then an engineering degree, a desk job, I realized wouldn't cut it for me. So I had to make the shift. There was only a matter of understanding what exactly I wanted to do if it was not engineering. And I sort of spoke to my father and told him that I need a year or two to figure this out. But I'm 100% sure that it's something media related that I'm going to end up doing. He was very kind to agree. And I moved to Bombay. One thing led to another. Things moved very quickly, and sports broadcast became my primary job. And now that I look back, I don't think anything else would cut it for me. I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
When you say you moved from Pune to Bombay or from
Mumbai.
Bombay to Bombay?
Yes, from Pune to Mumbai. I'm a Pune girl, out and out, born and raised. My parents are still there, and it's still very much home for me.
Now, would you say participating in the Femina Style Diva 2012 and then MTV Splitsvilla a couple of years later, 2014, they shaped your confidence and media presence? Because I know, at least, I don't know about Splitsvilla, but there's a lot of prep that goes into the whole Femina bandwagon, whether it's a Miss India or Style Diva, and there's a lot of emphasis on spoken word and communication.
Absolutely. That, in fact, was what was my bouncing off point, to realize that this is something that I enjoy doing. It opened up an entire new avenue. Just realizing that I had the ability to be in front of a camera and to be presentable, that's what sort of inspired my decision to want to do something that wasn't sitting behind a computer screen. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for me, I needed more, and the Miss India pageant particularly helped me discover that for myself.
And Splitsvilla, because it's a radically different show, it's more reality, some would say even controversial.
I've never thought about that TV show after I finished it. It was something that I did after I finished Miss India. I wanted to do something, but I didn't exactly know what. And I was looking to friends and people that I knew for inspiration. One of my sister's friends, in fact, was working on art direction for the show at the time. And she said that they're revamping the show and would you like to be on it? And it's going to be different. And I honestly, I hadn't watched the show before I went on. I went on there, broke my arm, came back out a week later, and it went on air. It did great things for me in terms of just people recognizing a name and a face. And that sort of helped make inroads into other areas of my life. But I haven't thought about Splitsvilla as a life milestone. It's something I did, and it just helped me along my journey, if nothing else.
I love hearing about sports broadcasters and their first break. Like Harsha was talking about age 19 and All India Radio and how he was just thrown to the lions. 2016 was when you got your first break with sports broadcasting. Tell us the story. Did you have to audition? Did it happen per chance? I don't know.
So I walked into the Star Sports office, and they were very kind to almost try to convince me to join them, because they were like, you can learn. There were, of course, auditions and stuff happening in the background, but ultimately when they decided that I was somebody that they wanted to work with, they said, we'll help you understand how broadcast works, the right jargon to be using, how to present yourself, how to understand exactly what happens, because there are so many moving parts in a sports broadcast. And my first real experience of working was very protected as compared to what happens in a cricket stadium or a football stadium. I was doing a Premier League rap show. So once a week I used to go in, we used to get the major headlines in. We had like a lot of AR, Diego Costas and other players popping up. And I just did like the little, so this past week, so and so happened. So it kind of helped me understand the chops of what I was doing. And I'm very thankful to that experience, moving into the wilder side, so to say, of broadcast.
that 2019 Cricket World Cup in England, it must have been so huge for you, Sanjana. How did that experience prepare you now, considering you're covering another England tour?
It was fantastic. It helped me understand that the English summer is not really a summer at all. It's the summer that we are used to is about mangoes and unbearable heat, but there it keeps changing, and the sport gets affected by that as well. So that was a big learning from tour. But I think that was a World Cup. It was a different format. This is a test series, a format I've grown to love since I've married my husband. So I'm expecting this to be completely different. I'm in fact drawing parallels from 2021 when I actually traveled to England. That was the last time India played England in a 5-match test series. I wasn't working on that tour. I was enjoying bliss of new married life, but this should be exciting.
I mean, I'm just curious to know, because you mentioned the Premier League football. I know you've covered the ISL too. When you move to football, do you have to put in that extra prep? Is there some anxiousness? Because if your go-to sport is cricket, and then the other sport comes along, you can't say no because you're a broadcaster. You've got to up your game. Were you a football fan at all?
No, everything I learned about the Premier League was on the job. I did that show for about 3-4 good months before I started to finally feel comfortable talking about football, and it started to roll off my tongue before the company I worked for decided that, okay, enough of this challenge, let's throw you another one and move me to cricket, where I had to start from the beginning. But I was a lot more exposed to cricket right off the bat than I was to football when I started. It's always a challenge. Having worked not only for football and cricket, but also kabaddi, badminton, a fair bit of the Olympics. I just feel like every sport requires due diligence and a certain amount of homework that goes into it. Our producers and everyone that works in the back end are very kind to help. But it's like being in college. The more you study, the better you get. And the more comfortable you are talking about a certain aspect of the game or a certain athlete when you've sort of done all the homework at the back end.
How does your son react when he sees you on screen? And how does he react when he sees Jasprit on screen?
He understands. So now every time he sees a cricket match, he knows that Dada is possibly playing. So he'll be like, is Dada there? Or can you point Dada out to me? But with me, it's more, you have to show him the broadcast, and then he's sort of wondering what exactly I'm doing there, because I think he started to get an idea of what cricket is, and it's a sport, and he goes to the stadium and watches it and it's on TV, but he doesn't entirely understand what I do because there's no real action or moving parts to it. It's just 4 people standing there and chatting. But he can identify the fact that it's Mama. Also, he gets really upset that I don't respond back to him from TV when he waves out and says hi. So maybe I'll slip that one in this tournament.
Honestly, I have 2 little ones, and every day is a bag of wonder. So enjoy this phase. It's our biggest blessing as parents.
Absolutely.
Another cricketer's wife or partner that you get along with very well and you're able to have conversations with and just chill and hang out.
Surprisingly, I made 2 of my closest friends on a cricket tour. Mayank Agarwal, the cricketer, his lovely wife Ashita Sood, and Jayant Yadav, his wife Disha Chawla, are very close friends of mine. We have a WhatsApp group where we talk about our extremely ratchet thoughts and we discuss everything under the sun. So I am thick as thieves with them.
Lovely. A player from England and a player from India to look out for during this upcoming summer. It's going to be long. Let's start with the 5 tests.
Player from India to watch out for. I'm really excited to see how Shubman Gill goes as captain. We've seen a little sort of trailer of what he can do with the Gujarat Titans in the IPL, but it will be really exciting to see him. It's the purest format of cricket, so to say, and it's Team India, so the stakes are that much higher. I wish him all the best, and it should be really exciting to see what he brings to the table. From England, I haven't really thought about it, but I've always enjoyed watching Mark Wood bowl. So I have to say Mark Wood.
I just want to ask you a sub question on Shubman. Everybody's talking about him being this young captain and things like that. But you know this outfit pretty well because you've been in the fringes of the outfit for a while. You do know that if he has any thought in his mind, he can go to Jasprit, who's been a former captain. He's going to can go to KL Rahul, Rishabh, and ask these guys for advice, even though he's a first
Hmm.
timer.
Absolutely. And I think that they're so they gel so well and they understand each other so well that it is really exciting to see not one but so many captaincy brains within the system, people that are independently able to think of what can we do next to get the desired result. um, which is why sort of Team India is where they are on the rankings and why it works so well as a unit on field. So I'm really excited to see how that pans out.
Your favorite place in England would be, and why?
I'm spoiled, so it has to be London. It's got a little bit of everything. It's the first time I'm, in fact, taking my son to England. So, with the parks and the malls and the lovely eateries, I think that would offer a little bit of something for everybody traveling this time around. So, I have to pick London.
And work-wise, your favorite ground or stadium in England would be which one and why?
Trent Bridge in Nottingham. I feel like it's a really intimate watching experience. It's just how that stadium is built. I've always had good memories there. So I really enjoy. And Nottingham is such a darling little city, so it's really nice to be there.
You know, Harsha said some very vibrant things about now coming back to hosting. He says it's been
Hmm.
a while since he hosted.
Hmm.
He's really looking forward to it because, you know, it has people like you who he has so much affection for. He says the young brigade of broadcasters. It's going to be an interesting series because, yeah, Harsha's not just commentating; he's part of the presentation panel. So, talk about that. How much you're looking forward to being with this fine group of people.
It's fantastic. I've spent so much time with Harsha now, and he's just one of the young ones. He's come and had breakfast with us and sort of the people that I work with so often, and he's just in with it. Like he's with the times, and he'll make jokes, and he's such a lovely person to be around that I'm excited to work with him. And then of course there's Nas and there's Athers, people who I've worked with extensively in the ICC. So I'm looking forward to it on a whole. There's Sunny G, who is always he brings his own flair and his flavor to any broadcast. It's a very nice mix of people that I've worked with and people that are on my wish list to have worked with. So I'm looking forward to it.
Are you very particular about your fashion and styling?
Mhm.
You are at a point where you say, you know, I've got to concentrate on the game and I'd leave it to my stylist, or are you still keeping a keen eye on that aspect?
So I do not think about it, and I do entrust my stylist to put together looks for me for the broadcast. But there has been something that consciously me and my stylist have been working on for the last 2 or 3 years, which is to support Indian designers. So as much as I can, I try to, because I work with the ICC, I work on a lot of multination tournaments. I try to bring these designers on the international platform and try to wear as much Indian um, fashion as I can, and sort of just help them get the exposure in my own little way. But it's something that it's become a little bit of a thing between me and my stylist. So every time we see a page on Instagram with some designs that we'd be interested in, we send it back and forth, and then we reach out and sort of we ask if they'd be interested in helping us out. And so far, it's we've worked with some really lovely people.
You know, I've been into control rooms where there's live sport happening, live cricket, and I just marvel at how you anchors handle all the noise. And I was telling a few of my actor friends, saying what they do is a piece of cake because there's no in ear with the director screaming controls while there's live television happening. Did that take some getting used to? The fact that there is a constant one-way dialogue happening while you are presenting, or you might be in the middle of a question answer session with Maddie Hayden, for example, and
Mhm.
somebody goes, "Oh, you know, rap to this, throw to this." Did that take getting used to?
Absolutely. But I'd like to preface this by saying that I've been on ad film sets where you have to get ready in your vanity and sit there for 3 hours before the director will ever notice that you're there and get ready for your shot. And being an actor is not easy as well. I
Sure.
couldn't do that for days on end. But talking about a sports broadcast, something I'm more familiar with. It does definitely take getting used to. There are parallel trains of thought in your head, because you have looked at the run order and you sort of have a certain amount of questions that you want to ask, and then the director and the producer have a certain direction they want to take the show in, and you have to listen to the guests on your show to sort of keep within context. So it's a lot. It takes some getting used to in the beginning, but once you understand that chaos in your head, it just gets very comfortable. Now, and it helps as a mom, because now when my son's screaming and there's the TV on and there's music, I'm very zen.
That's quite something.
Yeah, I'm
That's the
not
funniest thing you've
overstimulated
said in
at
this
all.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand being a parent exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, the real life applications to being a sports presenter.
My last question is about Pune. I mean, I envy Punekars. Each time I leave Bombay and I drive down there, it's such a lovely city. It's getting crowded, but still has that small town charm. Such a beautiful student populace. What do you do? What's the first thing you do when you get to Pune? And don't say just going to your parents' house and crashing, because I know that you need the sleep. But otherwise, what do you love about Pune, and what do you most like to do when you're there?
I enjoy how the pace of life drops like 20 paces the second you get off that Mumbai-Pune expressway. It is so relaxed. I just like that my day opens up and how I can have a leisurely breakfast 11 a.m. Then you step out and get a vada pav from Garden Vada Pav, and you meet your friends for a coffee, and that sort of just suddenly it's 4 p.m. and it's that just being at home and that slow sort of living that your soul needs it sometimes. I think living in Bombay and living that hustle culture every day, it detoxifies you almost. So that's what I enjoy most about Pune. And the food is, I have a list. Every time that I go back home, I have to check off certain things from certain places, and then I'm ready to leave the city.
Lovely. Guys, all of you are watching, listening, and joined us late. Just listings one more time. The India Tour of England starts 3:30 in the afternoon, Friday, June 20th. It's live on Sony Sports 10.1 and Sony Sports 10.5. If you fancy Hindi, Sony Sports 10.3, and Tamil and Telugu are Sony Sports 10.4. And Sanjana Ganesan is part of the English hosting panel. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and have a wonderful series. We'll be keeping an eye and ear out for you. Cheers.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun. Take care. Bye.
94.3 Radio 1.